So what if you could output every string on your guitar individually, route them individually into different effect pedals, and then play the guitar that way, so that you're not just having these different strings that play different notes or have different positions on them, but they each have their own distinct affected sound. This is hexaphonic guitar playing, or guitar pickups more specifically. I have learned about this, as many of these things that we talk about on this channel, exclusively through Andy, who had this guitar basically modified to work like this. We have 6 different pedals. We are going to play with this thing. I have truly no idea what is going to happen, or what it's going to sound like, or if it will work or not. But I'm really, really curious. So I saw you bring this guitar into our office. Nick, one of our other teammates who's a luthier, modified this bridge pickup, right? And that's what we're seeing, these 6 individual, I'm going to call them saddles, though they're not.
Sure.
So this is the hexaphonic pickup.
Yeah.
This is just a normal Dano lipstick pickup. All right. Where do we begin? So first off, there's this crazy, I don't know if you could see it at home, but this like crazy 9-pin or whatever.
19.
19 pin, okay.
19 pin.
You'd think that 6 would suffice, but apparently not. Cable that outputs what's coming from this. So this is just kind of like it looks like, picking up each string individually and then splitting them out and sending them out to a breakout box where you can route them out. Right?
Yeah, so this is made by Cycfi, CYCFI in Philippines, I believe. And each module is a small neodymium magnet that I think visually describe as like when you have one of those sun visors so you can look at the eclipse. It's just getting a very little bit of information, and that little bit of information lets it pretty much isolate the one string it's under.
I was going to say, so do you get some crosstalk the way that you do on a regular pickup where?
So I'll route this sometimes through 6 amplifiers, and that you don't really hear the crosstalk. Okay. When you hear distinct effects that are amplifying the string it's under, it does get a little bit.
That makes sense, because it's a way lower signal to noise ratio there basically. So you wouldn't notice it with amps, but you definitely hear a fuzz pedal pulling in another note in a different way.
Exactly. Yeah, and once you give it that really distinct personality. But yeah, so this is just the one pickup, and this is a CV knob that outputs CV information. The breakout box I can also pull MIDI data out of. Cool. So I'd be able to control a parameter on the synthesizer as well as pitch tracking.
So before we get into what it can do and how you have it set up, what inspired you to want to do this?
Well, I'd played with those Roland GK systems for a long time.
Yeah.
I was inspired by Pat Metheny largely to start playing those when I was a teenager. And after enough time, playing with that, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if this was something that was a little more integrated. And then I discovered these, and then I discovered that not only could you use it for the pitch tracking stuff, but you could actually use it as 6 individual pickups, which is something kind of, Robert Frippian maybe.
Mm-hmm. So was it made more for the synth side of things, for pitch tracking individual notes, or do we not know?
They advertise it very generously as like just a great sounding pickup, because it actually can pick up 20 to 20k hertz.
Oh, cool.
So if you use this with a DAW, you're able to actually shape it to be, kind of impersonate whatever guitar you want.
That makes sense, yeah.
I haven't done many experiments with that. I'm more interested in the spatial and kind of parallel routing stuff. Which brings us to this Rat King.
And one last thing before the Rat King. I see the Dano here. Is it just because underneath the mother toilet seat there's just a lot of space in here to be able to route whatever this must look like? Yeah,
there's a circuit board that you connect this to. So if you're using multiple of them, or these modules are actually able to be added. So if you have an 8-string or a 9-string, you're able to have as many output as you want. And the breakout has up to 12 jacks. So if you use it with a Chapman stick or something, you can have those independent and discrete outs. And so we picked this Danelectro just because it's hollow. Yeah. These 2 knobs and this pickup here are connected to this pickup. So it's basically functioning like a 50s U1, and there's an output jack for that. And then this is on its own discrete channel, and Nick from Bonaventure Guitars did a really great job of figuring out how to make this all work right.
That's awesome. So let's see. First off, before we jump in, sure. What does it sound like with totally unaffected? Will it sound just like a normal bridge pickup, kind of?
Yeah. Yes.
As we switch off 6 effects here.
So this is right now going through 2 amps, just for a little bit of spatialization, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's normal.
Yeah.
What happens when we make it not normal?
Well, so we can add one effect, right? So there's our B string, which now has reverb, but I'll play that in a D chord. And now I'll add a tremolo. Now that's on an E string. So let's play like a C.
That's pretty cool. Being able to put a tremolo on one string is interesting, especially the highest string. You can hear it floating up there.
Yeah, so I can like. And now we'll add a vibrato. That's on the A, and very extreme. Then we have the sunlight reverb from Old Blood Noise on the low E.
Thus far, everything you've done all actually feels very usable, sans the aqueduct, super extreme vibrato.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad, just a little more specific of a thing.
Yeah, I could pull it in a little bit. That's a tasteful randomization.
Cool, yeah.
Kind of a warped record sound, yeah. And then I have the slowly melting from Dirge, which is like a broken fuzz delay thing, which is pretty lovely in this context.
Huh. That is fun. Almost reminds me of the droning strings of a sitar or something.
Sure.
Just having that there in the middle of everything else spatially. That's incredible. So we're only at 5 effects now, right?
Effects,
so
yeah.
let's go to all 6.
This A string now will have a Moog MF flange on it. And then you have a wonderful little sextet.
I don't know if that's incredible or if we have officially jumped the shark in terms of guitar effects. That is wild.
Yeah.
But cool. I mean, you find ways to use it well, Sure, and you don't have to have 6 different effect pedals.
No,
at all times,
no, yeah,
I suppose.
yeah. Normally I'll use something like 3 effects that are kind of glitchy but doing the same thing. But because they're sampling and looping at different times, you get this really lovely wash.
Yeah.
But something like this is a little more obvious.
And I could imagine, let's say if you took a sub bass on the low E, and then maybe a shimmer reverb on just the B and the E, and then nothing else in between, or just something normal drive in between. You can almost play that as 3 different courses on the instrument, especially fingerstyle, just grabbing those drone strings with the shimmer, playing your bass line with the sub, and then having your A, D, and G to screw around with.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there are any, if you use any tracking synthesis like the Enzo or the Mothership or the FM4, the Enzo comes out of it, and like stuff like that, it tracks, because it's now seeing a monophonic signal instead of all this.
Yeah, yeah, all happening at once. That is incredible. Yeah. So are you using this in a performance fashion yet, or just kind of in the playing around phase?
I'm in the experimentation phase, definitely. I recorded a record with it the day after I got it. And,
as you do.
As you do. Yeah. I'd been thinking about something like this for a very long time, and then the push that really made me do it was recording a record in spatial sound, which is a new technology that utilizes inertia measurement units in headphones to track your head and change the way a mix sounds, kind of like VR, but for your ears.
Yeah, so you can experience what it would be like standing in a room, basically. With
Yeah, and so you could look around at your favorite band in the room, or listen to 6 amplifiers, each with 1 guitar string coming through it, and you're kind of in the middle of it. And so that's what we did at Q Department Studios for Mach 1 Audio in New York. I drove up, and Trajan there helped me set up this big hexaphonic rig, and it was amazing. I don't know when we'll be finished with that, but after that, I've just been back kind of in the experimentation phase, because that was a lot of it was pretty bare without too many effects. But now we're here.
Of course. Yeah, the one gear change that you can make to your guitar that precipitates the need for a million others, and that now you need 6 different pedal boards, 6 different amplifiers, 6 different mics. Really it's really good for the guitar industry as a whole, which we thank you. This should be standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a way, out of curiosity, I mean, I guess there would, but you need a splitter to kind of route these back in together, but you're effectively right now you're assigning out all 6, and you would need pedals in each loop in order to have them affected that way, right? Or is there a programmer where you're just like E and B and G now are on the same channel?
I see what you mean. Yeah, if I had them first go into a mixer, I could then distribute where they're going out of there. But right now I have them straight into the 6 pedals, and then I have those mixed with 2 Red Panda mixers, which are 3 input, 1 out, just to our 2 amplifiers here. But theoretically, with a bit more switching, or like a signal blender or a Swiss Things, there are a lot of ways that I would be able to kind of make sub loops within it and feed multiple strings into the same effect, and then route them out with those mixed signals.
I could imagine that being, well, this is like incredible. I could imagine that being useful to a broad swath of players, for example. Splitting the EAD or the E and the A, along with the other 4, for example, makes just a lot of sense in terms of affecting your bass lines one way and then affecting the melodies that you're playing. If you're doing like a Doyle Dykes thing, or
Sure.
any of the million people that play that way. And that's really, really cool. I think this is a really cool technology.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for it, and it's fun to show something zany just to really have a dramatic effect. But even just the clarity that you get from having independent processing of each string, even if they were all going to one place at the end, there are people out there who make hexaphonic synthesizer modules and hexaphonic pedals, so you'd be able to have a fuzz that is just all at one output.
Whoa!
And then it just sounds like a multi-track guitar.
And then you're just tweaking each one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you could actually fulfill the promise of the Polytune from all those years ago by running into 6 individual tuners and it really working.
Yeah.
That'd be lovely just for that.
It's a pipe dream.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Well, that is so cool. Honestly, I wanna fiddle though. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do of any import here, but does it matter where I'm switched here? No. Okay, now that I know what's happening where. What am I doing? They sound better all together than I would expect them to, That is fun. I will say for me, if I was doing this, I would tune to open. Because I'd just rather the choice to be able to drone things,
Sure.
I think that would work really, really well. All in all, another crazy, wild thing that Andy's gotten into. I just love your sort of thirst for new experimental ideas and new possibilities. It's super, super cool. So we'll put the link in the show notes if you were inspired to check out a hexaphonic pickup. It wasn't seemingly too crazy of a job. You may need a luthier, but for what you get from it in terms of control, I mean, you'll certainly be the first guy on your block with this if you're doing this anytime soon, and that's pretty awesome. So as always, thanks for watching. Super curious how you would treat this guitar. Let us know down in the comments. What would you do in terms of effects? What would you assign where and why? Let us know. We'll keep an eye on it.